Hi again. So, welcome back, second day. I've saved all my quotes from the first day. I'll feed them back to you at the very end of the day when we close this session. What we're going to start with today is not what you were expecting. So we're changing things up a little bit. Jer Thorpe was unable to fly, and it's given us the opportunity to bring forward a discussion that is entirely relevant to a lot of what's going on in government right now. So in recent days, we've seen a public engagement on accessibility launched by the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction. GDX, our partners within Citizen Services and partners to all of you, have also released an accessibility toolkit. This is a discussion that we thought was really important for this conference to have. And as a result, we're very, very excited and very lucky to have Ricardo Wagner from Microsoft here to talk to us about accessibility. So Ricardo, you can read his bio on the Connect website. It's not your typical bio. It's somebody that cares a lot about accessibility, about using data and digital to better understand the needs of people. And according to some of his colleagues, he's changed the way Microsoft has thought about this. So hopefully what we can get out of today is a little bit of changing the way we think about accessibility. With that said, I'll mention just the last thing. Ricardo just gave me his business card. You can't see this. It's got Braille on it. It's the new normal. It's what we should all be doing. And so with that, I'll introduce Ricardo Wagner from Microsoft to talk to you all.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I like the music. So I have a cool story before I start. I'm Brazilian, and we were doing the session here before, and I said, I'm going to play with my computer because I have Brazilian music. And they said, but we need to switch. We're going to do a say, if you have a better music, let's figure out. And they, you know, it was a warm reception. Thank you so much. And another thing, so my accent, I am Brazilian, but I am now Canadian as well. Yeah. I became Canadian a month ago. One thing I realized, I am saying I am sorry more often now. I don't know what happened. So let's start with a nice video.
We have so many people who are non-verbal, but still have so much to say.
I want the exact same information that my hearing friends have.
There are barriers to communication everywhere, but I think it's time we look at the barriers as opportunities to reach out to everyone.
Soundscape fills in a lot of the mental map as you move.
Approaching intersection.
You can just put it in your pocket and go.
With ALS, you become locked in. But we see technology as a way to give back what ALS has taken away.
There's no better feeling than to hear a child say something that they've wanted to say and the look on their face after they've been able to say it.
When it's reading, I see spaces between the words.
And it's easy to focus on.
Ajay realized that here was something that could change his life.
Now that I have my phone, I can see exactly what was said, and that's been a huge help to me.
The system is learning as it goes, and the accuracy has improved tremendously.
Students can pick any language that they choose to receive the information. It's like we jumped into the future.
Because communication is very important for all of us, and we just want to be together and not feel left out.
Aider les personnes avec autisme à communiquer, il y a des images.
Je parle, je donne une information à Arthur et elle est traduite par l'application El Picto instantanément en pictogramme et après d'une façon orale.
Va t'habiller et te brosser les dents.
On va pouvoir remettre en place une communication qui est plus spontanée. Je crois que ça aide à recréer du lien.
Both my wife and I are totally blind, and we have a 3-year-old son that's in preschool. He can see, but his parents can't. So to be able to know what's going on at his school is everything. The Seeing AI app has the ability to allow me access to the visual world. Artificial intelligence is beginning to have an impact on the lives of people with disabilities, but it's only going to grow. There is still so much out there to be done.
That's my presentation. Why this topic matters to Microsoft? We believe this is a solvable design challenge that drives innovation. It's a solvable design challenge that drives innovation. Environments make people disabled. Think about it. People are not disabled. Environments are. If you fix the environment, if you design an environment to welcome everyone, you innovate. I love this quote. It says, "Stairs make the building inaccessible, not the wheelchair." Stairs make the building inaccessible, not the wheelchair. And I learned another word in English since I moved, MacGyver. It's doing things after the fact because it was not designed, it was not built by design in a way that would welcome someone, for example, using a wheelchair or someone using a stroller. Unfortunately, we have a word in our vocabulary called accommodation. And accommodation is not a good word. No one wants to be accommodated. Accommodation means create something inside an environment that was not conceived and designed to welcome a person. And it's always after the facts, it's associated to cost, it's exception. And instead we should build adaptation. Adapt an environment where everyone can show up and bring their best. And this concept of thinking from an environment perspective and not about the person is the definition from World Health Organization. The World Health Organization defines persons with disabilities not as a personal health condition, but as a mismatched human interaction. It's not a personal health condition, it's a mismatched human interaction. And when I do this presentation, people say, yeah, that's interesting, but I don't see people with disabilities. Do you mind if I ask you, if you know someone with disabilities, please raise your hand. That's a topic that matters to all of us. You know why? There are 1.3 billion people with disabilities in the world. 1.3 billion people with disabilities. It's almost China population of persons with disabilities. Unemployment rate for persons with disabilities is 2 times higher compared to persons without disabilities. And most people with disabilities employed are actually underemployed. Canada, there are 6.2 million people with disabilities of a population of 37 million. 6.2 million people with disabilities. And 70% of disabilities are invisible. You don't know if someone is hard of hearing, if someone has cognitive or learning disabilities, if someone is with sight loss or blind. 70% of disabilities are invisible, which makes it really hard for us to detect, to help and support. And at Microsoft, we are starting to see this conversation changing. Instead of seeing a wheelchair and starting to see people and applying human design-centric principles when we design products and solutions, we are realizing the amazing contribution that persons with disabilities can bring when they are part of the fabric and when they help us to build solutions. And many solutions I'm going to show today are built and designed by persons with disabilities working for Microsoft. Why this is so important for us? At Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. 7.4 billion people in the world. How we design solutions that is going to work for everyone. How we empower everyone. including persons with disabilities. Suddenly, this conversation became a very interesting conversation internally at our company on how can we design solutions that works for everyone. And something really interesting start to happen in the mindset, in the way that we start to design products. Before, companies like Microsoft, we were designing products for the average, for the normal. Normal average doesn't exist from a human perspective. But we were with the industry mindset, of an industry revolution mindset of designing for the scale. So imagine a dinosaur is sleeping. I know I'm an economist and I need to draw, so just try to follow me here. There is a dinosaur is sleeping here. The tail and the head. In the middle, the back of the dinosaur. Most organizations, they were trying to maximize revenue, profit, market share, designing for the average. If you were a niche, as many marketers call a market that is a secondary market, you're not like the target option. Let's first maximize where we have volume. And we created a situation where we were either included or excluded. But here's the beauty. Now we are moving to the digital transformation world. And the digital transformation is different. When you design for an extreme, you design for everyone. And we are applying a concept called inclusive design. Not sure if you ever heard about this topic, but the point that we want to bring is the idea of environment is not just about physical environments. It's not just about a chair, a stage, a real estate. This is important. You also need to apply universal design for everything that is physical. But we have the digital world around us. Everything in the way I'm presenting today, I'm leveraging digital content. And I need to ensure that my presentation is accessible and inclusive as well from a digital point of view. How we bring this to life? We apply 3 principles. And we should all leverage and learn how to experience inclusive design. The very first concept is recognize exclusion. Exclusion happens when we design and develop things based on our unconscious bias. And we all have our own perspective in how we see the world. That's our unconscious bias. When we are designing a product or a solution, we need to be mindful. Who is not going to be able to experience and use, and why? How can I make it work? So this is, think about from citizens in British Columbia. If you are developing a campaign, a website, who is not going to be able to use and experience, and why? Make it work. Once you identify the ones excluded, invite them to be part of the process. And then you go to the second principle of inclusive design, which is learn from diversity. I love this phrase. It says, proximity drives empathy. Proximity drives empathy. Closer you are, more likely you are to understand a different point of view. And when you do this, you go to the third principle, which is solve for one, extend to many. Many people think that this conversation around accessibility and inclusion is just for persons with disabilities. It's not. The same technology, the same principle that you apply for persons with disability is going to work for everyone. At the end, accessibility for few becomes usability for many. When we design products at Microsoft, many people go to the Microsoft store and, for example, experience Microsoft Surface. They may not understand why we have a technology that you can use touch, you can use inking, you can talk, use your voice, you can connect with your eyes, you can turn in a tablet or a laptop. This is too much. I just want a keyboard. I just want to play my laptop in the way I used to play with my typewriter machine. A lot of people still use computers like typewriter, just using with a keyboard and not aware that technology today, especially the technology that is built from an inclusive design perspective, will adapt to you, not the opposite. And here's an interesting thing. When you design, for example, for someone without an arm, it's going to work for someone who broke an arm or someone holding a Tim Hortons double-double. Canadian example. If you design a solution for someone hard of hearing, it's going to work for someone with ear infection. and it's going to work for someone speaking a different language. I'll do this. Let me do for the first time, I'm going to do a presentation. Do you mind if I speak in Portuguese? Eu posso falar em português e vocês podem seguir este conteúdo em inglês. Imagine uma pessoa surda ou com dificuldade auditiva. Esta mesma pessoa seguiria este conteúdo de forma inclusiva. What we experience here is artificial intelligence working behind the scenes, and the principle of inclusive design that we applied when we heard from a Microsoft engineer. He was becoming hard of hearing, and he could not follow Skype conference calls anymore. And he said, can we create a speech-to-text technology so I can follow conference calls? And we made it work. And once we got the codes, the engineer said, wait a minute, what about if we apply translation? And it worked. The same technology designed for hard of hearing is now empowering foreign language speakers to communicate. Just one example from voice, speech to text. And this technology is provided by cloud computing, data centers with superpowers in technology that we can serve as a services for citizens, for corporations, for small and medium business, for schools, for everyone. We are democratizing technology. Everybody today can experience the latest and greatest as we are showing here. This technology is available by design. By design. It's not, oh, wait, you want an accessible product? That's a different price. This is a premium offer. It's not. We build accessibility by design. And you can offer this to employees, to citizens, to students, to kids. I have so many examples to bring today. When we talk about inclusion, many people, I bet everybody has an opinion what inclusion means. But I think the best way to understand inclusion is to understand what exclusion is. Exclusion is painful. I'm going to bring 3 examples. One is personal and 2 from the industry. One is not related to persons with disabilities, just to show that this principle of inclusive design can be applied in other fields or minorities. Let me start with the first one. March 12th, my little one, Nicholas, he's turned 4 years old. And then my wife had a wonderful idea to invite all the kids from the daycare for his birthday party. Amazing. She just forgot one of the kids use a wheelchair in the daycare. And we don't have an accessible house. We have stairs to get in. Kids play upstairs at the basement, and I reminded my wife what we're going to do. This is not going to work. And then, let's find a place where we can make this party. I live in Toronto, Oakville, and there are so many options there for places that you can do birthday party. And I found many, but I did not find any place where kids using wheelchair could play. That was the tricky piece. I was like, no, I want him to play. I want him to be part. I did not find. So I called daycare, they introduced me to their parents, and then I call his daddy, say, hey, I do accessibility at Microsoft, I'm curious as well. Your son is invited. Do you suggest a place that you go, that you recommend? I'll do the party there. And he said to me, thank you for calling. This is the first time my son is invited for a birthday party. Exclusion. 2011, 8 years ago in US, there was an investigation to understand why in car crash, women were facing more challenges, more injuries, even death compared to men. 2011. They discovered something unbelievable. In the car crash industry, the dummies for the car crash, the only dummies for testing were male, like me. They did not have female buddies or dummies for car crash testing. 2011. Maybe you are thinking, okay, my car is 2012, 2013. But just to imagine, like engineers, that everything that they were doing, they were trying to design cockpits that could save lives, but their unconscious bias, they were not thinking about different gender. Maybe they were missing a woman as an engineer to say, hey, do you mind to test? This is one example. I usually do this presentation when we can do a setup, but I want to invite you to think now. My third example, it's the technology world, the world we live. Now, if you go to beautiful and modern buildings, you go to the ground floor, you have a touch screen where you can touch and pick and choose the floor you want to go. But if you are blind, and then you have the touch screen, how does it work? Touch screen will not work. So they created the Braille button. So if you are not in a building with more than 100 floors that you need to go one by one, and if you are not lucky to go to the 100th floor, you need to go one by one. But that's not the point. The point is, once you reach the floor that you want to go, pressing the Braille button, many systems reply back to say, go to elevator B, go to elevator 2. Where is elevator B? Where is elevator 2? Why I bring this example? With cloud computing, we are experiencing what we are calling Internet of Things. Things can be connected to cloud. Example, elevators. And when you connect an elevator, you have efficiency from flow. You can apply machine learning to understand that during the morning when people arrive, during lunch when people leave, so you have a different flow and you need to have like a different setup. But here's the thing. Just an example from the Internet of Things in elevators. If you have someone coding and designing AI and applying machine learning, AI is artificial intelligence. It's a coding that you apply and the system can learn by itself. The more you use, better the tool becomes. And then if you apply machine learning, the tool can really be powerful. But here's the thing. If you apply and create something with your unconscious bias, excluding people, you're going to teach machines and algorithms to exclude people at scale. That's the issue. Technology can be a tool and can be a weapon. I finished this example. I forgot to say the example from my first example. Yeah, he was invited to the party. We figured out a place that he could not play actually using wheelchair, but the kids were playing anyway. They had a lot of fun and everything was fine. So I always forget to finish the example for the birthday party. Luckily, I remember, otherwise everybody, what happened in the party? So, and another thing that I would love to invite you all to think is to think about accessibility as a journey. You will never, ever have a point that you're going to say, we are accessible. We are fully accessible. We are check it. No, you're not going to get this point. Because innovation happens every day. And when you innovate, you need to ensure that what you are designing and bringing is accessible. So accessibility is a journey. Let me share an example. And by the way, we are on the process, and we are learning a lot as a company. Let me share mistakes we did in the past and how we are evolving to make our own culture more inclusive, more accessible, and how this concept is helping us to design and create solutions outside to the market. Xbox. We invited 10 top gamers for a conference in San Francisco in 2013. And one of the gamers asked for accommodation. And when he showed up, he was with his mom, and we saw him in a wheelchair. And we didn't know he was using a wheelchair. And when we asked, say, oh, we didn't know that you use a wheelchair, he said, yeah, I didn't have an option in my avatar in Xbox Online to choose a wheelchair to show who I am. From an inclusive design, we made a mistake not creating or giving options for gamers to choose avatars with wheelchair, prosthetic leg, prosthetic arm. We made it work. Second point, we could see that he has mobility impairment, he has cerebral palsy, and he could not move his left arm properly. He could not use the joystick to play. And we asked, how do you play? And he said, I'm grabbing my phone pretending that this is a joystick. He said, I bring with my right arm the joystick close to my head, and I play in this way. And we were like, what? So we didn't create a controller, or we did not connect him to our technology. But the most interesting thing he said, what I love about Xbox and Xbox Online, I connect with people socially. And people connect with me because of my abilities, because I'm good at. I just would love to see this word reflected in my offline world. Powerful. And with this concept in mind, we were so excited to launch the Xbox Adaptive Controller. We even decided to do a Super Bowl ad this year. How many of you saw the Super Bowl ad? Very few. Let's play.
My name is Grover.
Sean. My name is Ian.
I'm Taylor.
My name is Owen, and I am 9.5 years old.
So Owen was born with a rare genetic disorder called Escobar syndrome.
He's had 33 surgeries to date.
I love video games, my friends, my family, and again video games.
It's his way of interacting with his friends when he can't physically otherwise do it.
What I like about the adaptive controller is now everyone can play. You can just say, all right, that's that button, that's that button, that's that button. Perfect.
One of the biggest fears early on is, how will Owen be viewed by the other kids? He's not different when he plays.
No matter how your body is or how fast you are, you can play. It's a really good thing to have in this world.
When everybody plays, we all win. We all win. How we bring innovation, how we make it work. And the examples I'm going to bring from a Microsoft point of view, I hope you can also think from your own point of view, what you can do to find insights, to apply inclusive design principles and innovate and make it work for one, extending to many. When you do spelling and grammar on OneNote, Outlook, all the different editor softwares we have, before, when you had a misspelled word, for you to type this word, the system was just replacing and even not allowing you to pick and choose a word that you want to, replace the misspelled word. And we heard this loud and clear from the community with sight loss and blind, saying, hey, I want to decide, I want to pick and choose. Can you do a technology that you highlight the word that is misspelled, then you give suggestions for me of words that I can pick and choose, and if you can also give read aloud options, this is going to help me. We made it work. This is not just helping the community with sight loss, but it's also helping teachers with students, helping them to increase and learn new vocabulary, and it's also helping foreign language speakers. So that's the side effect of positive innovation you drive when you design solutions for permanent disabilities. The other good example is what we call, the technology call it Tell Me. So what we learned when we designed Office 2016, the latest, now we have the latest one with Office 365, it was really hard to find commands. Every time we launch new products, we have new features, but for people with low vision and blind, it's really hard for them to keep memorizing new commands in shortcuts in keyboard. So they suggested, can you create a search bar where I type what I'm looking for and I can quickly find the command? So basic, right? We created Tell Me, and it's empowering everyone. And this tool, I tell you, is helping everybody. It's not just a community with permanent disabilities. Another good example, built in Vancouver, is what we call learning tools. Engineers inside Microsoft, they came together as part of what we call Hackathon. It's an initiative that we bring employees for specific projects to design solutions for specific things. And in Vancouver, we designed a technology to help adults and kids with learning and reading disabilities to read and consume content confidently. And we create the Learning Tools technology, which provides an immersive reader experience. And once you have the immersive reader, the system can read word by word to you and make things just easy for you to consume. We have now 17 million active monthly users just using this technology worldwide. This is happening in, oops, I was about to show it, but I brought a video from a school in US who implemented this technology. The tool that I'm going to show here is free. Free, please, let family, friends, everybody know. This tool is available for everyone. take a look how it impacted and helped a school system in US.
The true purpose of education is to create possibility.
It was a little hard for me. People laugh whenever I read sometimes.
Well, they knew how to read, and I didn't.
I will never be good at reading. I will probably be held back again.
It highlights the words to know where I am.
When it's reading, I see spaces between the words, and it's easy to focus on.
The first time I actually could read that book, I was proud of myself. I was very proud of myself.
Good job, Joey.
When technology and education come together, possibility becomes reality.
I want to read every book in here.
Cool, huh? Probably before, all those kids were, suggested or invited to join a special education or trying to find accommodation inside the classroom because of dyslexia or learning disabilities. But when you bring a software or a technology by design that works for everyone, kids can play with everyone and consume content differently. It's about the environment, not about the person. Powerful, right? Satya Nadella is our CEO, and he took over in 2014. When he wrote his book, Hit Refresh, he highlighted his own experience with his 3 kids, 2 of them experiencing disabilities. The oldest has cerebral palsy and he's blind, and the youngest has learning disabilities. So he knows by heart the challenge around our society for inclusion, especially for persons with disabilities. Before becoming CEO, he used to be the executive sponsor for the Microsoft Employee Resource Group for persons with disabilities. And when he moved as a CEO, he created an organization called Accessibility inside Microsoft, led by Jenny Lee Fleury, an amazing, amazing, amazing person. She's our leader in accessibility. And we are now evolving in bringing this mindset of how technology can help organizations to create inclusion and accessibility in the workplace. How we are doing this? We're doing something really interesting that we should all do. We are hiring people with disabilities. We are hiring people with disabilities. Remember, unemployment rate for persons with disabilities is 2 times higher compared to persons without disabilities. But here's the point, it's not hiring persons with disabilities from a moral perspective, it's because they bring amazing perspective. They bring amazing point of view. And you'll be surprised as you evolve and learn more about this untapped market, how qualified they are. In autism hiring program, I'm gonna give examples. They have the highest qualification and the highest unemployment rate. And we were trying to hire students and talents in the spectrum, and we were failing big time. And we understood why. It was our hiring interview process. So instead of now doing the hiring interview process as we do by phone, screening, calling, one-on-one meeting, we are now inviting for a week workshop in our campus. And through the week, we do many different activities. We interact, we walk, we have managers, we have many different ways to connect and interact until we find the match and we make a proposal. We're not there, I would say, from the numbers or where we want to be. We hired so far around 50 to 70 people in the spectrum, but we are making progress. The contribution that they are bringing in helping Microsoft is just incredible. One example of many other types of disabilities. I'm here more and more internally at Microsoft, the community with color blindness. Is there any color blind in the room? Do you mind to? Yeah. So if you share, for example, a scorecard, red, yellow, green, person may not be able to consume the content. That's why we advise you to check accessibility. And accessibility checker will replace by a face, a happy if it's green, neutral if it's yellow, and sad if it's red, or arrows. There are many ways to say the same thing and make content more inclusive. And we are finding ways to innovate and bring more technology to life, like learning tools as we described before. All of this we do from our values, make this inclusive. The very same presentation I'm making here is the same presentation we did for our internal employees last month. I did in US for our group in different segments in Brazil. So we are sharing in a transparent way the same concept that is going on inside Microsoft with our customers. We are transparent in things that we are improving, things that we need to do a better job, and we are always looking for partnership with customers to improve our experience and make our products accessible by design. Accountable as well. There is a legislation in place to make it right. And that's a good piece that I want to bring to life here. There are people addressing this conversation just from a legislation point of view. Legislation by itself will not drive innovation. I truly believe that legislation set the ground, but we need business leaders to really understand the principles of universal and inclusive design and how this conversation can drive innovation. And in combination with non-for-profits, we can bring this conversation as a society and start to make the change. The other thing I want to please leave this session is the word called humble. Humble. It's a journey. I can tell, honestly, many challenges we are facing as an organization, but the good thing, we are committed to make it right, committed to make it happen. And another interesting quote that I love every time I watch presentations from leaders in this segment is nothing about us without us. Nothing about us without us. So bring persons with disabilities to be part of the fabric, to be part of the solution. I think this message lands really well in BC for a reason of British Columbia and all the intention to make the province inclusive, especially for persons with disabilities. We would love to see ways to connect and help BC leaders in this journey and showcase how technology can help you to create inclusion for persons with disabilities. There are so many conversations we need to have. I don't know if you know, but there are issues around how data center is connected in British Columbia versus other provinces because of Rock Mountains. Some data needs to go to US versus coming here. But maybe the decision of concern of leaving the data to US and move back to BC, probably people are not aware that this is affecting and not helping leaders like you to create inclusion for persons with disabilities. That's a conversation that we need to have. That's a dialogue that we need to bring to life. So I can honestly tell you there are more than 100 features and technologies today available by design. More than 100 available in Windows 10, Office 365. And I'm going to bring just a few examples to you so we can make this clear for you that this is available by design and we can all use. Magnifier. You can zoom in your screen up to 400% and make presentations in a very confident way. How many of you heard about Sing AI app? Sing AI app. Please raise your hand. Very few. But this is the #1 app for the blind. It was actually designed by blind engineers at Microsoft. And what it does, it uses your phone and the cloud computing technology, AI technology, and use the camera of your mobile phone to describe all the scenes and all the information around you. I'm going to play with my phone here. So Sing AI is available on iPhone devices. We are soon going to make some announcements around Android platform. But once you turn on, you start to have voice information about what you can use from Sing AI. I'm looking for faces, so I'm going to take a picture of a handsome person, in this case me. So let's see what Sing AI is going to describe about me.
One face near processing. 42-year-old man with gray hair and a mustache looking happy.
Sometimes this tool doesn't work well. But here's the thing. You can read documents. If I have a document here, I can scan a document, and AI technology is going to read the document aloud to me. I can scan a barcode. If I have a barcode and I'm a grocery store or a hotel, I can have an information of what I'm holding. Person, currency, anything. I can just use the camera to describe and empower me to do more. So this is changing the life for persons with sight loss and blind. I was yesterday in Ottawa, and I had a chance to talk to a person from Canadian National Institute for the Blind. She was describing how she used this app. She told us she doesn't need to ask her husband to read the documents for her anymore, and she can have more privacy. She can also do makeups and understand how this face is working. Just things that you may not realize or understand that is impacting lives. And I used this app, by the way, when I went to Vienna in Austria. I don't speak German. And I took a picture of the menu, and I asked the system to translate, and I could understand everything. So addressing for one, extending to many. A good example, Seeing AI. High contrast. Shift out print screen. You can change the contrast and layout that you consume your content on Microsoft 365. Closed captions. For me, it's unbelievable that people still share videos and content without closed captions. And it's so easy to do. Easy. Open up PowerPoint presentation, add the video, and add the VTT file with all the content that you create the transcription, and the system is going to make a file for you that you can share and ensure that the content is accessible. There is an easier way for you to do. We call this Microsoft Stream. It is available as part of the subscription for Office 365. All you need to do, upload the video, and artificial intelligence is going to create the transcription for you. Easy. So AI is going to create the transcription. You don't need to type any word. And since we speak two languages, so if you use a browser and translation, you can translate to up to 72 different languages. And you can hear the video, for example, in English, but subtitle in French or different languages. So powerful, so easy to use and operate. Microsoft Translator. So if you go internationally or you go across Canada and you want to deliver a session in different language, the system can translate all these slides for you from any language. And you can also do presentations like I did in Portuguese, in subtitles in English. And the system is going to create a barcode. You scan the barcode with your phone, and you can follow in up to 72 different languages on your phone by reading everything that is said, or asking the phone to read aloud it to you. I did a presentation at United Nations with 24 different nations, and it worked beautifully. So everybody was connected in their preferred language. Some of them using audio, some of them reading, everybody following the same content. This is the AI technology working behind the scenes and empowering everyone. Microsoft Translator. How many of you knew or heard that you can use Windows 10 with your eyes? No? So we built a hackathon to help people with ALS. So as you know, ALS over time, it limits your ability to deal with the environment with everything. At the end, you only have your eyes as a way for you to connect and interact with technology. And we were challenged to figure out a way to track an eye movement, an eye gaze movement, and see how could we make this work in our platform. And it worked. And now Windows 10 is available by design for people to use with their eyes. All you need is to plug a camera, cost around $90 to $300, the USB device, call it from Tobii, and you calibrate, and then you can use and play computer with your eyes. But the interesting thing, we are seeing now doctors using this technology. And the reason, they can be more collaborative, of course. They don't need to take out their gloves, wash their hands, and go into a keyboard. They can bring the screen close by and do what they need. But the main reason they use, it helps them to avoid contamination. When we designed the solution, we were not thinking about this scenario. And guess what? We are bringing this solution to healthcare. Say, eye gaze can be an amazing solution for you to avoid contamination. About the environment, not about the person. That's why we bring on-screen keyboard. For people, for touching, it's easier for them to do on the screen with their inking versus doing a keyboard in a traditional way. Many people, they have solutions at home that they arrive and say, hey, I can turn on lights, turn off TV with my voice using different devices. You can do the same with your computer. You can dictate email. You can compose an article. You can build presentations just using your voice. Dictation is available by design. designer. So when you add a picture, artificial intelligence will use the same principle of seeing AI, and it's going to describe the picture for you. So you no longer need to do alt text describing images. Technology can create the description for you on your behalf. That's available through PowerPoint Designer. Learning tools, as I said before, available by design. People can pick and choose and follow an immersive reader experience. The system can highlight verbs, adjectives, nouns. You can translate to 72 different languages. You can change the background and the contrast. So many things that you can do to customize and make the reading experience more interesting for you. Mental health, notifications sometimes, and most of the times, are disturbing. So we let our customers to decide and set the configuration on how they want to be informed and how they want to be notified with our technology. Mental health is the next, I would say, topic in this segment around accessibility, especially in the digital world. More to come. We have innovative solutions today, empowering and helping organizations to improve mental health. Tools like Workplace Analytics, My Analytics, all the solutions that we have behind the scenes that we can offer and bring this to life. Editor, an example that I mentioned before, a misspelled word, you just check, pick and choose the word, read aloud, and make it work. I'm just bringing some examples. Inking. People may not think that inking is an accessibility technology. I was presenting with my colleague, Mayan Ziv. She's the founder of Access Now. And it was my turn. I passed to her. She connected her computer, and she was drawing and writing, taking notes. At the time that she connected, and everybody could see her notes, and it was a large auditorium like this, she said, "This is the first time that people can actually see what I'm writing. Because of my mobility impairment," she used a wheelchair, she could not go to a whiteboard and draw. And she said, "You know what? I'm not going to turn on my PowerPoint presentation. This is so cool. Let me draw and take you through everything I'm thinking." Inking, being a powerful, accessible tool. We do this across all devices, across all platforms by design. This conversation internally, and we suggest for all customers, do not make accessibility a cosmetic conversation. This is not a conversation that you can address after you finish a product, after you finish a solution. And the other important note to make is technology and tools are here. Here, I can tell. We are coming from a tech world, Microsoft. Technology is here. We can leverage and use technology to create inclusion in the workplace, in better services to citizens, to educators, to students. But there are few more things to be considered. First one is processes. What are the processes that you need to change in order to experience this technology? How are you going to train people to understand the tools and processes? And how you understand legislation? Because I tell you, there are so many people that are not complying, not even doing things that are designed in legislation. When you do this four correct, tools, processes, people, and legislation, and you start to think about culture of inclusion, things start to happen. So this conversation is not just about acquiring a technology and everything is going to be just fine. It's not. There are many things that needs to be part of this process. An inclusive attitude, people really working to make it right. We have really good examples. From a commercial side in Canada, we have, I would say, some very few case studies worldwide from a Microsoft perspective of customers doing well in accessibility and digital inclusion. TD Bank is a good one. We should all be proud. They are really leveraging and experienced technology to make it work. From a public sector perspective, we also have a good story to share with all of you. Government of Canada has recently acquired technology for 410,000 public servants across the province, leveraging everything that I'm showing here, everything that is presented. And the government is committed to create inclusion and accessibility in the workplace. I'm going to play a video from the Minister, Carla Coltrot. She is the Shared Services, Procurement, and Accessibility Minister when we did the announcement in March in Vancouver.
I'm delighted to be here today with all of you for a very exciting announcement. Over the years, the Government of Canada and Microsoft have developed a strong relationship. Microsoft truly lives by the idea that technology is a tool for all people. They build their products to empower individuals and level the playing field to accurately reflect the diversity of today's growing workforce and society. After visiting the Microsoft Technology Center last summer, I left asking myself how my life would have been different as a child who is legally blind if I had had access to the technology that Microsoft has developed and is providing today. How would that have changed my school experience? How would it have changed my first job? Modern IT has the ability to improve the lives of millions of persons with disabilities, and I'm pleased to see that Microsoft has made this a priority from the beginning. With accessibility features built right into Office 365, they are now creating opportunities for employment within the Government of Canada and beyond. I can literally tell you people will be able to get jobs now because the Government of Canada has this software. As the Minister of Accessibility and as a person with a disability, I see great value in partnering with forward-thinking companies that address accessibility like Microsoft. In doing so, our government can ensure people with disabilities are included from the very start. Right now, we're about 5% of public servants have a disability, but I guess the bigger message is that everybody's going to benefit from this. And we're going to be able to offer it to think of the half of the public servants that speak different languages, or it's definitely a game changer for the public servants that currently serve with disabilities. But our government is also committed to hiring 5,000 more public servants with disabilities over the next five years, and they will all have access to this, and that's going to be a game changer.
I just can't wait to have one more customer stories from British Columbia. Thank you so much for your time. If you want to keep in touch, I post content and information on a daily basis on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I also curated content. Everything we present can be found in this barcode, but don't worry, we're going to share this information to you via email or your preferred channel. On behalf of Microsoft and my team, I would like to thank you all for welcoming us for this session. And we're going to also open for a quick Q&A. Thank you so much. Questions. You can make a question in any language. One question. Can you just please wait? We're going to bring a mic to you. Is there a mic?
Excuse me, I'm just coming. I have a mic
Yes,
for you.
but it's good because there are people.
You can definitely hear me now.
Good. Where are you?
I'm here.
Oh, I see you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Fabulous presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. The Seeing AI app, would be very curious to know if you are thinking of opening up that API so that app developers like ourselves can include that component in our apps and make it more inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you for making the question. I forgot to say, this is an API that everybody can use. You are absolutely correct. The API for Seeing AI, the API for translation, all the APIs we have from accessibility perspective can be used with all your services. Thank you so much. Seeing AI can be used for this purpose. Thank you.
Hi. I just thought that the demo with the speaking Portuguese and the translation was really cool. And if time permits, is it possible for you to show off any more of that?
Is it possible for what, sorry?
You to show off any more of that translation technology.
Oh yeah. So I can speak in Spanish and in German, and let's do this. So you ask, and that's cool. When you do Microsoft events, people always want demos. I'm gonna do a cool one for you here. So I'm gonna speak in Portuguese again, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the Microsoft Translator app, and I'm going to translate everything that I'm saying in French, okay? So using the app, I'm gonna scan this barcode, and I'm gonna set up my system to French, and I'm gonna start the conversation. So I'm gonna say a few words in Portuguese. This system is gonna bring the subtitle in English. I see your smile, you can't wait, right? I know. And then it's gonna bring in French, and I'm gonna bring close to my mic. Let's see if it's gonna work. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Eu vou falar em português e eu espero que todos vocês, depois desta apresentação, fiquem muito contentes e espero ver todo mundo me aplaudindo.
Je parlerai portugais. Et j'espère que vous tous après ces cadeaux. J'étais très heureux. Et j'espère voir tout le monde m'applaudir.
It's so cool. Artificial intelligence is doing everything, and I'm showing off here, pretending that I am doing all of this. I'm not. It's the technology that is working behind the scenes. Good question. Did it help? Microsoft Translator is for free. You can download this app and use it as a translator on your phone. And when you connect with Microsoft PowerPoint, you can have the experience I showed. More questions?
Hi, thank you for the amazing presentation. My question is around seeing AI. So we can see that a person who has a visual disability can use the app and click picture and it will just recite everything. But what about the invasion of privacy? How are we controlling that? If you can elaborate on that, please. Thank you.
Yes. Privacy is, so from a Microsoft perspective, we don't own data. Customers own their data. We manage and host all their data. So we have strict policies on how we access information. We make it open for all customers to understand. We don't use this data from a personal perspective, for example, to use for advertising purpose. This is one. And all the data that you use from translation services or Seeing AI is a data that belongs to you. So we'll be more than happy to further discuss or even get a session around compliance, security, to highlight how we bring this information to life. And that's our commitment from a company, is the data belongs to customers, not to Microsoft. Questions?
Hi, in your talk you talked about both innovation, I'm over here, hi. The technology and the culture change necessary, and I think that all the folks in this room are pretty bought into the need to do this work. One of the barriers that I experience and see is that everyone is really busy, and we put this often falls off of our to-do lists. I loved the birthday party example about putting in the extra work to create an inclusive environment, and I just wonder if you have advice for those of us who are trying to do this in our organization, and we're not meeting resistance, it's just time.
Hire persons with disabilities. Hire. Give some examples. When we hire a professional with sight loss in our marketing team, amazing things start to happen. People start to realize that we needed to share content accessible. And we force the system for people to check accessibility before sharing a content. Another thing that happened, we start to share content in advance prior to the meeting so he could read on a screen reader all the content that we were about to present and get prepared for the meeting. And when we were at the meeting, no need to present and use PowerPoint because we all knew what we were about to talk. And the third thing that we learned, he does an amazing thing. He listened. Like in meetings, it's so hard for people to stop and listen. He doesn't multitask, and he teaches us how to not multitask and pay attention. We ended up making meetings more productive, faster, just by having someone with a different perspective that helped us to do a different process to meet and be more productive. By doing this, you start to be mindful. Remember what I mentioned before, proximity drives empathy. By bringing people with different perspectives, you start to make the engine work. Go big, hire persons with disabilities. I can stay here all day. I have no problem. The organization is going to let us know if it's time to leave, but more questions, more questions. Mike, here. We need to make an inclusive event. You are just paying attention for the back. There are many hands here in the... Please.
I have a question over here. It's actually a good follow-up to the previous question, where they were talking about, we're pretty connected here, where there's a lot of buy-in here for inclusion. How do you talk to employees in Microsoft that maybe aren't as aware for the need of inclusion, or to identify that there are different demographics? We can't just treat everyone the same, and we need to not just identify demographics, but in doing that, be able to identify the barriers that they're facing. So how do you communicate with those employees?
Training, 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 training. Plus training, 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 training. So that's something we do constantly. We did a very powerful training session that we made available online, call it Accessibility 101 from Microsoft. It is curated in the content that I'm going to share to all of you. We have two Microsoft friends here at the audience as well. They can also confirm every single employee worldwide. We have 140,000 employees. We have each 5 commitments every year. One of the commitments is around diversity and inclusion. And we have commitments from a diversity and inclusion perspective. So it's a combination, I would say, from an incentive, from love, and why not fear? If you don't do fear, love, and money, how you play this in, I can't believe I'm saying this, but how you bring different elements. Of course, we should all do this for love. We should all do this because this is the right thing. But there are people who care that they're going to make the change. There are people, unfortunately, that is not saying this topic in the same way. So they may operate in different ways, either with incentive or penalization. I can't believe I said that. You have a question? There is one question. You.
Hi, Ricardo. Heard a lot about you. Very pleased to see you and see your presentation finally. Thank you. My first job in government was to design communications for people with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had a lot of experience and challenges way back anyway, and totally connect to what you are talking about right now. But we didn't have the technology. But what I have witnessed as well is that lack of guidelines and lack of proper standards. And I remember, doing my own research so that I'm using the proper colors as well to accommodate people with visual impairment, for instance. Not having to use like the governmental, corporate colors and that kind of thing. And then what I've also seen is that across time, governments have been investing a lot in different types of technologies as well, like American Sign Languages and trying to be inclusive as well. So moving forward, now the new digital age, as I call it. So looking at all the platforms and interfaces that we have and in delivering services to citizens, and to as the next steps in being way more inclusive and being able to accommodate, all the differences, because we know that out there in the public, there's a vast, it's a wide range of different assistive technologies that people with disabilities use. So what would you recommend in terms of that transformation to happen, and how our different platforms and interfaces, online especially?
That's a very good question.
What would you recommend as being the proper strategy to address that?
Yeah, it's always be mindful of people in how you create an environment for every single person and talent to bring their best and connect with the environment. We have a word, we say, diversity is when you invite everyone for the party. Inclusion is when you invite people to dance, and belonging is really when you feel that I am part of what is going on here. How you create a sense of belonging in this process is make it personal for every person, but not in a way, do you require accommodation? No one is going to raise their hand. There are smart ways that you can approach and show options and menus that people can say, to be empowered to what you want to do, these are the options that you can pick and choose, and let us know how we can help. There are technologies that, like Windows, Office 365, that many people use, 1.7 billion customers worldwide. This technology today brings accessibility by design that can be used by many people. There are some groups that may require additional assistive technologies. How you make this in an environment where people feel confident to disclaim and say, hey, I want to be assisted with additional technology. So it's a conversation that it does not just move or involve technology and IT, it moves with HR, with legal. It's a partnership with all the different leaders to really ensure that they're going to make a culture of inclusion and bring this to life. Really good question. I think we can also have additional Q&A outside, and to be respectful with all the other sessions, we need to move on. But again, thank you so much for your time. I really hope you like the session. Thank you.
que nada, sai da minha frente, eu quero passar. Pois o samba está animado, o que eu quero é sambar. Esse samba que é misto de maracatu, é samba de preto velho, samba de preto tu. Mas que nada, um samba como esse tão legal, você não